So one of the things that really upsets me as a professional sex educator is when I see this information that to achieve a vaginal orgasm, a woman needs 20, 30, 40 minutes of stimulation in the intercourse with the penis. It is a totally inaccurate and a ridiculous statement. When men take this belief into their head, they feel this enormous performance pressure, while it is completely unnecessary for you to do that in sex, and most often it will not lead anywhere anyway. And for women, the same. It creates this depressing, limiting belief that nothing really amazing is accessible to you unless you can withstand 30, 40 minutes of hammering the vagina. So let's explore today the question of how long does it actually take for a woman to have a vaginal orgasm. So to make it clear from the outset, I'm not obviously speaking from the personal experience of having a vagina. I'm speaking as a professional sex coach and a sex therapist who has worked with women for 20 years. So I'm simply reporting what I have observed, what I have learned from all those women that I worked with. Any well-informed sex educator will immediately say it depends what kind of orgasm you're talking about, because women can have a variety of different orgasmic experiences, which can all be called an orgasm during the intercourse. Now, I want to make it as simple as possible. So there are basically two kinds of things that might happen during the intercourse. One is a woman might come during the intercourse, and the other one is a woman might have a vaginal orgasm during the intercourse. So coming during the intercourse for a woman is that experience of a peak orgasm. You have that sexual tension building up. It feels like it's more craving and craving the release, and gets more and more tense, and then it relieves. You have this explosion of pleasure and the relaxation. You have come. So it is the same experience as men have when they ejaculate, or that women have when the clitoris is stimulated in oral with a vibrator, whatever. So women can come during the intercourse. It is not coming from the intercourse, from the penetration. They come during the vaginal penetration from the clitoris on the outside mainly. The clitoris is stimulated by grinding. The actual movement of the penis inside the vagina is totally irrelevant. It doesn't touch the clitoris. The majority of women will never have an orgasm during intercourse through grinding. This is a well-documented fact in many studies. For women who can come during the intercourse this way through grinding, how long does it take? As long as it takes for this woman to have a clitoral orgasm, which is different for every woman. But like I said, that was a bit of a prelude. Most sex educators don't mean this by the vaginal orgasm. When somebody says that a woman needs 30 minutes of intense stimulation in the vagina to achieve a vaginal orgasm, typically what is understood by the vaginal orgasm is that the vagina starts experiencing something really intense. It's not a buildup of tension to a particular one point of pleasure and release. It's just an intense, ongoing experience of orgasmic pleasure. There are many areas of the vagina that can contribute to this when they are activated. It can happen from the whole frontal part of the vagina around the opening that can become very sensitive and really orgasmic. It can happen from the G-spot in an ongoing way, or as a series of intense moments. And very classically, by the vaginal orgasm, people understand the cervical orgasm, which is stimulation in the depth of the vagina that gives very strong, intense wave of pleasure, but not in a way of a release, just really ongoing, intense waves. You might hear the word release in this context, but by that is normally understood some kind of an internal state of release, of letting go, of surrendering, of clearing, not so much the physiological buildup of physical tension and releasing physical tension like you would in a classic orgasm. But basically, you will be told that for a woman to have this kind of intense blissful experience, she needs half an hour of really intense stimulation in the vagina. The logic being that the vagina needs that amount of stimulation to properly awaken and start feeling enough. And secondly, the woman needs that time to really relax, let go, fully surrender, open up all her internal levels, and only after that amount of intense stimulation she will be able to experience this kind of intensity from the vagina. Let's look into this. How does this happen? It means the vagina is now awake and sensitive to feel and to perceive pleasure, right? And it means the vagina has been stimulated enough to awaken and is now stimulated enough. So this is how we're getting that intense vibrational experience of an orgasm. Now, can you see here that if the vagina is a lot more sensitive, you need a lot less stimulation. If the vagina is a lot less sensitive, then you need a lot more stimulation. How does the vagina feel a lot? How does the vagina become more sensitive? What are the important factors? First factor, arousal and foreplay before the penetration. A lot of the sensitivity inside the vagina is created before the penetration. If a woman is really well aroused, her vagina is already very sensitive. You can even put a finger inside, and sometimes a woman can have an orgasmic experience from that. Second factor, how the woman connects to her own body, to her own vagina, how the woman feels her vagina. There are different aspects to it that I'm not going to go into in a lot of detail. Different sides of it are presence, sensitivity to your own sensation, also relaxation and letting go, also an emotional connection to your vagina and to your partner. With the internal connection, a woman really magnifies the feeling in the vagina, and when that connection is absent or a woman is in her head, then the feeling is really reduced or shut down. Third factor, the right movement to stimulate the vagina, of course, necessary. Hammering the vagina for 30 minutes to try to mine for a vaginal orgasm is not the most productive movement. It does not leverage the vaginal sensitivity in the best way. You do something really vigorous, repetitive, and monotonous, it is likely to engage the vagina poorly or even numb it out. The right movement involves knowing the right actual moves, where to stimulate the vagina, but also very importantly, a really correct buildup, how to warm up and intensify those areas correctly through the right progression, the right pacing to really leverage and achieve the maximum sensitivity. And I will add here the fourth factor, which might seem a little bit abstract to you, but actually it's very, very powerful. It's that a woman feels connection and presence from her partner, because it makes her feel really relaxed and really present in her senses, and that really intensifies the pleasure in her body. And if you're hammering her for 30 minutes or just trying to get some kind of an orgasm, she does not feel that connection. So this really reduces her feeling. With all these factors, she can start experiencing vaginal orgasmicity much sooner. But yeah, sure, it's not going to be immediate. The vagina still will need to warm up to connect more. So there will be a buildup of that intensity to achieve those, more intense states. But this doesn't need to take 40 minutes, 30 minutes, or even 20. This is also a capacity that grows when women consistently get lovemaking like this. So the vagina becomes naturally more immediate, more responsive. And then you will need shorter and shorter time. And for some women I worked with, it was pretty much immediate at some point. Now, I hear what you might say. This seems like a lot to do. First of all, it is not a lot to do. It is much easier than training yourself to become some kind of a machine that can hammer for 30 minutes, 40 minutes without coming. That is far more difficult. This just means doing some foreplay that feels like really nice lovemaking. It means being in a relaxed, connected state of mind that just feels really nice, removing all the pressures, not trying to perform, and just knowing a few intelligent things about movement and about connection inside the vagina. It really isn't difficult. But let's take that hypothesis. We will just hammer the vagina for 30 minutes. Will we break through to that vaginal orgasm? Now, this is what I call brute force approach in sex. It is used in various places in sex. Throw intensity at it to break through. Will that work? It might. There might be some women for who just hammering them for 30 minutes, it might get them to those levels of vaginal intensity, because it will do that promised job of stimulating the vagina enough and hammering a woman into relaxation. You see, by now it is not the most effective approach, but would it work as a plan B? Maybe. It is just as likely, if not more likely, to not work. If the woman is struggling to connect with her body enough that she needs 30 minutes of hammering to get there, then the chances are that 30 minutes of hammering is going to fail at that. And instead, she's going to get bored, exhausted, or just numb. And you've got to ask yourself, what is going on here? That means we need 30 minutes of hammering to get to any kind of real connection with sexual energy. And is 30 minutes of hammering really likely to be a solution for that? Sometimes people who tell you that you need to do 30 minutes of hammering will tell you that it just takes 30 minutes of going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to that amazing, most profound vaginal orgasm. I will challenge that. It is just a cumulative effect. It's just if you do anything for 40 minutes in sex, it's going to get you into that more trancy state. If you keep touching the clitoris for 40 minutes with orgasmic waves, if you keep stimulating the penis and edging for 40 minutes, it will get you into that trancy state. So it is going to be the same inside the vagina. It is like, okay, we can have 10 minutes of orgasmic energy, or we can have 30 minutes of orgasmic energy. Of course, the effect is going to be a bit different, and you can have it as long as you want or as short as you want. But it is not a difference between not having a vaginal orgasm and achieving a vaginal orgasm. It's not like it is win or fail. The most productive thing you can do for vaginal orgasms is to take off the burden of yourself and relax. Make love really well in the vagina. Connect with each other well. Really feel and enjoy every moment. And do a really nice, intelligent progression with a lot of feeling. And any kind of vaginal experiences that are possible for you, they have the best chance of happening in the fastest time this way. I'm not saying that everybody is going to be able to do it right now. I'm saying that if you take the route of hammering it for 30 minutes instead, thinking that it's going to be more effective, I don't think that will work better. And you know what? You're actually going to go then into a zone where it's not even going to matter whether you had a vaginal orgasm or not. You're going to have a really amazing, fulfilling time together in sex. You're going to feel some amazing things. Some of them you will call orgasmic, some of them you will not, but they will all be amazing. And there is no more effective attitude to achieve a vaginal orgasm than this.